Ronald McDonald was a cool clown. Bozo was a cool clown. Willie the Whistle was a cool clown, but none were as funny as Funny Like a Clown podcast. I am the clown, Dennis Wirth. This is August 31st, 2021, episode 124. And the reason I start out with who's the best clown, because this next guy was not only a character not only a comedian, but also a character of a clown. We're going to be discussing today Mr. Damon Wayans. As always, today's episode is brought to you by G Vegas Buffalo Sauce for the spicy, sweet, savory, tasty game time. There's only one G Vegas available at www.gvegas.webs.com. What's cooler than getting some G Vegas Buffalo Sauce shipped directly to your door? And this stuff is the best Buffalo Sauce, okay? There's like good clowns, average clowns, and the best clowns. Well, there's good Buffalo Sauce, average Buffalo Sauce, and there's the best Buffalo Sauce, which is G Vegas. Hey, you want to talk about best clowns? Damon Wayans, man. Started out a comedian, did 1 year on Saturday Night Live, which, if you're in the world of stand-up comedy, that's like the godfather of television shows for stand-up comedy. Some arguments exist, it was edgy when it started out, but that was an era when you could be edgy. Then, the FCC stepped in, television ratings. Now it's kind of goofy, not edgy, and his big break came, I guess, when another edgy show came along where they took they made it into the old Saturday Night Live. It was a sketch show from 1990 1992. He was on the sketch comedy show In Living Color, and they did what Saturday Night Live used to do. They took some edgy stuff instead of just being goofy funny. They made it edgy funny, which at the time it was a big show, man, and. I guess you want to talk about clowns. Damon Wayans on that. He played Homie the Clown. Okay, which if you saw some of the skits about Homie the Clown, they're some of the funniest ones on In Living Color. So show didn't last as long, but man, it had its run, and it certainly went down as a legendary show. That's for sure. Let's see. After his big break, Damon went on. He did an animated series called Wayne Head on the Kids WB block from 1996 to 97. Did a TV series named after him, Damon, in 1998. So the guys keep him busy. I mean, it's tough to have a show, the old show Happy Days went for how many 20 something seasons, or the old popular shows. But I mean, if you're on television just for one season, I mean, you make an entire season without getting canceled, that's still something that keeps you in the game right there. You see, this guy stayed in the game. I mean, certainly, you could always go back to In Living Color as the backbone of the show that broke him, but he stayed in the game even after that. Let's see. Tried his hand at movies. They had some cameos in such movies. Beverly Hills Cop, the all-time classic comedy movie with Eddie Murphy, obviously. The Last Boy Scout, where he teamed up with Bruce Willis, which I thought that was a very good movie. I thought it was an underrated movie. I mean, it was a big movie at the time, but I mean, I thought it should have been, a bigger classic than it went down to be. Certainly Bruce Willis, he's one of the biggest actors of the time. So you're making a movie with him, you're at the top of your game at that point, man. Major Payne, which I guess he played the lead role there, so I guess he'd be most remembered for that movie. And let's see, I did a sitcom, My Wife and Kids, from 2016 to 2019, and also started a TV series, Lethal Weapon. After the Lethal Weapon movie series, they made it into a TV series where he got to play the role. Hey, how did he get started? He was born in Harlem, which I guess, if you're born in Harlem and you're in the hood, you either get a sense of humor or you get shot, one of the two. You got to laugh about stuff. That's what I say. I do a character called the child support superhero, and I laugh about my pain of dealing with family law and having my son ripped away from me. And, you learn to laugh in life, or you learn to go crazy, one of the two. So he's in Harlem. He decided to laugh about it and become a stand-up comedian. Started to stand up in 1982. As we mentioned, did a cameo on Beverly Hills Cop, which, you're doing stand-up comedy just to get into any movie at that time, which was a big. This was right when Eddie Murphy was breaking too. I mean, he was a big comedian, but he wasn't the legend Eddie Murphy. Now. I mean, now if you get on Eddie Murphy, he's like, whoa, Eddie Murphy, the legend. Well, back then, this was before his first big movie broke, Beverly Hills Cop. So he wasn't the legend Eddie Murphy, but he was at the top of his game, Eddie Murphy. And Damon Wayans, he certainly got a part in this movie, which who knew it would be the big blockbuster, series that it was. 3-part series, but I hear recently they're making a Beverly Hills Cop 4, so that'll be one to stay tuned in for right there. Let's see. Which obviously led us to we mentioned his stint on Saturday Night Live, but he got fired after only 11 episodes on Saturday Night Live because he improvised during a live sketch, which you practice in this, and you do what you practice, and then all of a sudden you go live. Which he ain't the first one to do that. All of a sudden, you say Andy Kaufman. He was famous for doing stuff that wasn't planned. It wasn't in the thing. Okay, but you're less than a year on Saturday Night Live. You ain't got the credentials yet where you can do what you want and get away with it. You're still a young comic who can then booted him off after 11 episodes for improvising during a live comedy sketch on live TV. He was playing a cop, I guess, and he started playing the cop as flamboyantly gay instead of just a straight cop, which they practiced in the scene. So, which if you ever watch the comedy roasts, okay, these comics, they get on the comedy roasts and they tell them, oh, you're roasting this person, but here's the subjects you don't want you to touch, this, and this. Like Charlie Sheen, when they roasted him, they said, don't say nothing about his mother. They don't want you making fun of his mother. Now, most comics, hey, you're putting me on Comedy Central. This is a big break. I'm going to listen to you. Okay. Now, the one comic who chooses to make fun of his mother and then put a big joke, that's the one who's going to get remembered. Okay. Where I remember hero of mine, Sam Kinison, he went on Saturday Night Live and he broke some rules on there, but he became so big from breaking the rules that they had him back the following week. He went on there. Andrew Dice Clay went on MTV, okay, live TV, and he started telling curse words. Got banned for life from MTV, but being banned from life got him more publicity than if the set had went good. So if you break the rules, sometimes it can be a good thing. So he played the cop flamboyantly gay instead of a straight cop. So after that, Fox TV in 1990, as we said, he started In Living Color, where he continued the gay character on there. So Saturday Night Live wouldn't, but I mean, it had to be popular at that point because the news said, oh, he got thrown off for being this gay character. Now everybody wants to see the gay characters. So, I mean, it turned into a thing where he could continue it, and it was a known character at that point. Later on, he said he actually wanted to be fired because he had lack of creative freedom on that show, which, comedy's in the moment. There's so many funny things that happen in the moment that you can't reproduce. I remember I was on a local TV show once, the Comedy Kitchen, and we'd have some magic going on all of a sudden. Then you hear, cut, we didn't get that, do it again. It's like, well, it's not going to be funny the second time. A joke's funny the first time you hear it, you crack up. The second time you hear the joke, you already know it. It's not as funny. So in comedy, you can't do things, improvise. That's half the game right there, is to be funny on the spot. You can't reproduce funny because it's already been seen. So he said lack of creative freedom. He wanted to be fired. He wanted to get out of there. He wanted a place where he could do what he wanted to do and be funny. And if you're a local comedian, a lot of shows will tell you that too. Hey, you got to work clean. You got to work clean. It's like, well, what if that takes away from the joke? What if the joke's not as funny? If you tell me go up there and don't be funny, but those are the rules you got to go by. If it's not your show, if you want to work in comedy, you got to play by their rules. You want to be on Saturday Night Live, you got to play by their rules, even if it's not as funny as it could be. So, where do you get to the point where you break the rules and do what you want to do, where you're a big enough comedian that you can play by your own rules? That's a tough one to just coming up, because Damon Wayans, he's just coming up. He don't have the power of being a big star saying, hey, I'm going to do what I want. Don't tell me how to be funny yet. He's just starting out. They're telling him how to be funny, and that's a tough thing to take when somebody else is telling you how you should be funny. Well, if you think you're funny, you come up here and do it. Don't ask me to do it. I'm here because you thought I was the funny one. Now you're going to tell me how to be funny. It don't even make sense, So let's see. I guess Lauren Michaels, who's the creator of the bigwig over there at Saturday Night Live. I guess he didn't want him to be compared to Eddie Murphy, where if he started doing, becoming popular and becoming edgy, they compare him to Eddie Murphy, who had recently left Saturday Night Live. So that's why he was trying to keep a leash on him early on in his comedy career on Saturday Night Live, where hey, Damon wanted to do his thing, and Lauren Michaels, wanted to do it my way, okay? Because if you're on my show, you do it my way. So he chose to leave, and probably better remembered for, not probably, he is better remembered for In Living Color than he ever was for Saturday Night Live, what he did on there. Let's see, his brother, Keenan Wayans, actually created the show In Living Color. It was like a family thing, and he got on there, and like I said, such skits as Homie the Clown will forever be remembered. Where some of the skits they're doing on Saturday Night Live ain't as memorable. Remember the old days when like Belushi was on there and Dan Aykroyd and they Chevy Chase. They really pushed the buttons. I mean, if you go on there, there's one with Chevy Chase and Richard Pryor where they discuss the N word in a job interview, and you could not put that on TV now. People would lose their minds. But I mean, for the time, it was acceptable. It was funny, and now everything's politically correct. We're offended by everything. I know people are offended that I'm sitting here. Who knows why? But hey, that's them. I don't get offended by nothing, man. It's killing comedy though. This offensive stuff, man. You can't even make nobody laugh, and it's offensive anymore. So let's see. Other films he did, which probably weren't as popular as the mainstream ones I already mentioned. He was in Mo Money, Celtic Pride, which I am a huge Boston Celtics fan. I've loved them since I was a kid, and I got to tell you, it was a horrible movie. It was just as much as I love the Celtics, it was just a terrible movie. He was in Bulletproof, The Great White Hype, and Blank Man. So these are some of the other movies. If you're a big Damon Wayans fan, you can catch. Here's one I didn't know about him. He appeared in Janet Jackson's video. The best things are free. So Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson's brother, one of the biggest female artists back in the '80s. So back in the '80s, videos were everything. I mean, MTV was at its peak back then when they actually played music on MTV. But yeah, I mean, they were putting millions of dollars into these videos back then. Every artist, this was the new platform. We don't only get to sing, we get to do a video. Big money going into that. And you got to appear in a video back then on MTV. That was the top of the game right there. Another one I know he's actually considered for the role is the Riddler in the Batman series, which, as we know, it went to Jim Carrey, which Jim Carrey was one of his co-stars on Saturday Night Live on In Living Color with him. He was the only white boy in the house on In Living Color. He was the token white boy, I guess you'd say. But yeah, I guess Jim Carrey got it. But I mean, it was right down to him and Damon Wayans to play the Batman role for the Riddler. So that would have been something that Damon beat him out instead of Jim Carrey seeing as the Riddler. But just to be considered for stuff like that, that's a credit to being at the top of your game right there. Let's see, 1996, he came out with Wayne Head, based on his life growing up in a large family as a kid, which, I guess you got your stories of your brothers and your sisters picking on each other and doing what you do as large families do. Or if you're in a small family, you got your stories of being the only kid. I mean, no matter where you grow up, what you do, everybody's got their story in life. So he told his story in Waynehead. 1998 was the Damon, the TV series. He was a detective from Chicago. I guess that didn't go over too big. It only lasted one season. But again, one season on TV is better than no season. You're staying in the game. 1999 put out a best-selling book called Bootleg. It was humorous observations of family life. So I guess I do a lot of jokes about child support because I mean that's the life I live, dealing with family law and having my son ripped away, and you laugh about your family, but I guess most of his observations in life were on his family life, so he must have had a pretty humorous family life growing up. So that's what you tell jokes about what you know, what you've lived, what the true stuff is, because they always say the true stuff in comedy is funny and anything you could make up, and that's the truth. 2000, the lead in Spike Lee's Bamboozled. Spike Lee, yeah, I remember back in the '80s. I guess when he got involved with Michael Jordan, there is it the shoes, the big Nike thing. He was a big director there for a while, and he was also on the sidelines of the New York Knicks games. So I guess taking it back to the '80s and 2000s, I guess being in a Spike Lee movie is nothing to hesitate about. 2001, 2005, he was in the ABC series My Wife and Kids. Again, staying in the game. 2006, he was on Showtime with a sketch series, The Underground. 2006, he hosted the Black Entertainment Awards on BETV. And what is that? The Black Entertainment Television Network, I believe it's called, which I get the whole Black Lives thing, but if I put out the white only entertainment network, then all of a sudden I'm racist. But you can have a black entertainment network and nobody says shit. Those are the things I don't get. We need to take color out. It's just an entertainment network. The color don't matter. That's why racism exists, because we as people put labels on it. Okay, and when we drop the labels, that's when we're going to get rid of racism. Not by burning down towns and cities, but by educating ourselves and stop acting ignorant and putting labels on things that were not meant to be labeled. Okay. Oh, let's see. Because God didn't make a black man and He didn't make a white man. He just made a man. Okay. And then we gave him labels: black man and white man. Okay. Us humans. God didn't give him labels. He just made men. That's all He did. 2011. He was the author of a fictional novel called Red Hats. So not only a comedian and actor, but now also an author. Okay, which if you check out Red Hats, who ain't got that little creative side? You almost want to try something else, no matter what you're doing. Let's see. On November 12th, 2015, he announced his retirement from stand-up comedy, because while he was doing all this stuff, he's out performing in live shows, which you don't forget comedy, because that's a stage to get you to make movies and get you to the platform, but you never forget where you come from. Okay. And there's nothing like a live audience. I don't care what you do. I mean, a movie is great to have out because that's your legacy. That's something, a live thing. You got to be there live and then it's over, where a movie you can watch over and over till the day you die. So that's your legacy. But a live show, that's when you see the best of an artist right there, when you're interacting with the crowd one-on-one. Let's see. 2016, as we mentioned, he had the TV series Lethal Weapon. He played the role of Danny Glover. The role Danny Glover played in the mainstream movies, Lethal Weapon. They made it into a TV series. Let's see. After season 3, Damon decided he was going to leave after the completion of that season. So I guess it could have went on, but he made the choice to leave. New project he's got going with ABC. It's a new family sitcom called Let's Stay Together, which I noticed in his career it always goes back to his family life. So I mean, that must be what he considers, because he always doing the family shows, the family this, and it's in development right now. So that's a tentative name, Let's Stay Together. Whether it comes to fruition or not, who knows? Let's see. He was married and divorced in 2000. Who hasn't been married and divorced? That's the way things go in this country. You notice that nobody say, used to be like the 25 silver anniversary or the 50-year golden anniversary or whatever. You don't see that anymore. People don't stay together. It's just a sad time that it's kind of a thing of the past. Marriage is like this cool thing you do for a few years, but few make the long haul. But let's see. He had 4 kids. Close friends with Michael Jordan and Jim Carrey. Obviously, they were co-stars on the show, but I didn't know he was good friends with Michael Jordan. I guess other than comedy, he was really known for, he feverishly defended Bill Cosby, which I recently had a girl. I did a podcast on Bill Cosby having his conviction overturned, and she said, like, all the accusations to Playboy Mansion, they shouldn't even count. She said, those girls, they weren't there for Bible study. I mean, you go to the Playboy Mansion for a party, you pretty much know what's going on over there. It's tough to act innocent when you're in that kind of an environment. But Damon Wayans had to say about Bill Cosby's conviction is it's a money hustle. 40 years. How big was his penis that you had amnesia for 40 years? Because, I mean, these girls are not, coming out and accusing him of stuff till 40 years later. Well, what were you doing for the last 40 years? It wasn't rape then, but it is 40 years later. Some of these girls well, the first time it happened, he's like, bitch, the first time, how many times did you let this happen? Happened the first time, so you went back for more. It's a little tough to believe, I guess, in his eyes. He said, hey, look at some of the women. They were unrapeable. I wouldn't touch them. They're not attractive. Some look like they were beat with an ugly stick, I guess. These were Damon Wayans' points when he was defending Bill Cosby. But I guess when you're in that, we don't have that kind of money, so we don't know what it's like for people to just constantly, I guess I put it to a bill collector. They're constantly trying to call or it's a telemarketer. They're trying to call us and get some money out of us. What scam can I run on the phone to get them, try and get some money out of these average people? Well, when you're someone who's got millions of dollars, the scam goes to another level. What scam are people going to run on you to try and get some of the money out of you? So whether it was a scam or not, the courts will leave that to decide. You got your opinion. Damon Wayans had his opinion, and he thought it was a big scam. What's your opinion? That's why Funny Like a Clown podcast is here for you to put your opinion out. So, Damon Wayans, I mean, like I said, probably best known for the In Living Color days, but man, he stayed relevant, stayed in the game. And, you know, when you don't, it's so easy to die in the game of comedy. So, I mean, if you can stay relevant and stay doing things and just stick around, you've accomplished something in comedy. And certainly he had a very legendary career. And The Last Boy Scout, very one of my favorite movies, I guess, from going back to the 80s and stuff. Beverly Hills Cop, probably my favorite comedy series of all time. Only a cameo, but hey, I'd kill to have a cameo with Eddie Murphy in a Beverly Hills Cop movie. So who would remember Surge? And funny series. All right. Hey, what's your favorite movie? Type it in the comments below because I'd love to hear. What's your favorite comedy movie? Because I got to put Beverly Hills Cop right up there as one of the greatest ones of all time. And Homie the Clown. This is Dennis the Clown. This is Funny Like Clown podcast. Hey, go recommend a funny movie to somebody tomorrow at work so they can enjoy the same laughs that you did. Till next time, I'll be laughing. How about you?